Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I want to discuss about introduction. So, offshore support operations are important in the oil and gas industry but carry increasing risk due to the challenging environment. Emergency can arise from various situations such as fire explosion, oil spill, and bad weather conditions. To respond effectively, a well-defined and practiced emergency response plan is essential. This plan should include the firstly about risk evaluation, emergency response procedures, emergency response team, emergency equipment, communication plan, training and practice. With this measure, offshore support operation can be carried out safely and efficiently with minimal risk to personnel and the environment.
Logistic activity in offshore support operation. One of them is emergency response. Firstly, offshore support vessel installation must be prepared to respond to emergencies such as a fire, discharge, and oil spill. Secondly is provide a rescue vessel and the crew to be ready in case of an emergency. This requires the right equipment and personnel in place, as well as well-trained emergency procedure. Thirdly is a transfer personnel for the risk on platform in critical situation.
These are the processes that might involve in emergency response. There are 5 steps for risk assessment. First step, risk identification. Step 2, risk analysis. Step 3, risk evaluation. Step 4, risk control. And step 5, monitoring the risk. For step 1, which is risk identification, identify the potential emergency scenarios and assess risks associated with offshore operation. For example, if oil spills was happen, manager need to determine the environmental risk. Step 2, risk analysis. Once it has been identified, analyze the potential risks that related to offshore operation such as fire, oil spills, and failure of equipment. Step 3, risk evaluation. Evaluate and prioritize the risk depends on its severity and frequency. For example, the risk can be prioritized by risk metric. Step 4, risk control. The risk can be either to ignore it or do nothing, or else can respond and do something. Managers do not generally like risk, so they are inclined to transfer any, especially those where the cost of transfer is significantly lower than the expected cost of internal management. Last but not least, monitoring the risk. Not all risks can be eliminated because some risks are always present. So, manager can monitor the risk through computer system. Next, emergency response team activation. There are 5 steps that involve in emergency response team activation. Step 1, review oil and gas facilities emergency response plan. Step 2, evaluate resources based on facilities worst case scenario. Step 3, evaluate equipment. Step 4, train as if it were a real incident. Step 5, schedule ongoing training to keep everyone safe. Step 1, for review oil and gas facility emergency response plan. Retrieve the ERP document from the designated repository or digital platform where such critical documents are stored. This could be an online portal, a shared drive, or a physical location within the facility. Step 2, evaluate resources based on facility worst case scenario. Example, ensure the facilities has a well-trained and equipped emergency response team capable of handling various worst case situations. These include personnel trained in first aid, firefighting, and hazardous materials response. Next, step 3, evaluate equipment. regularly inspect and assess the condition of emergency response equipment. Ensure that all equipment is well maintained, functional, and up to date with the latest safety standard. Step 4. Train as if it were a real incident. Implement realistic time frame for each phase of the emergency response. These include detection, notification, mobilization, containment, and resolution. Training within realistic time constraints enhance the team efficiency. Step 5. Schedule ongoing training to keep everyone safe. Implement a regular schedule for training sessions covering various aspects of emergency response and safety protocol.
Communication protocol. Communication protocols are vital in offshore support companies' emergency response process, enhancing efficiency, minimizing risk, and ensuring safety of personnel, assets, and the environment. First is about internal communication. Offshore support companies have internal teams responsible for emergency response, with communication protocols defining methods like radio channels, dedicated phone line, or real-time update. For example, offshore support companies use radio channels for immediate and direct communication during emergency situations, ensuring efficient and quick transmission of critical information between teams. Second is about external communication. Offshore support companies must establish communication protocols with external stakeholders like clients, regulatory authorities, emergency response agencies, and communities to ensure accurate and timely information sharing for coordinated response efforts. For this example, offshore support companies use fast-speed communication protocol to ensure timely and accurate information is sent to regulatory authorities during emergency. Third is about hierarchy and chain of command. Establishing a clear hierarchy and chain of command during emergency is crucial for effective decision-making and communication, ensuring the right individual receive information and take appropriate action. For the example, communication protocol outline rules and responsibility of key personnel during emergency, with the emergency response coordinator as primary contact and defining the chain of command for escalation. 4 is about information management. Communication protocol involve documenting, storing, and sharing information for incident reporting, data collection, and dissemination, enabling effective analysis, assessment, and continuous improvement of an emergency response procedure. For the example, communication protocol may outline guidelines for incident reporting and information sharing, requiring standardized incident documentation and submission through a specific system of software application for proper analysis and reference. 5 is training and drills. Communication protocols are integrated into training programs and emergency response drills to familiarize personnel with them, enhance their skill, and ensure effective implementation during emergencies. For example, training and drills reinforce communication protocols through simulated emergency scenario, familiarizing personnel with protocol and improving their ability to effectively implement them during actual emergencies. Detection and alert. The detection and alert system in offshore support companies is crucial for timely and effective emergency response, ensuring the safety and well-being of personnel and assets, and mitigating potential and risk. First is about detection. The detection aspect involves monitoring equipment, system, and environmental factors for identify potential emergencies or abnormal situation using sensor, alarm, and monitoring system. For example, offshore support companies may have gas leak detection system using strategically placed sensor to alert them of potential emergencies. Second is about alert. The alert system is a crucial component in offshore support companies, ensuring timely and effective response to emergencies. It notifies personnel through various means, coordinating response efforts and implementing safety measures, ultimately mitigating potential risks and prioritizing personnel and asset safety. For example, an alert system is active to notify personnel of a gas leak, prompting the emergency response team to assess the situation, gather information, and take necessary action.
I will present about the process. Evacuation procedure. First, development and documentation. Create comprehensive evacuation plan, the outline escape route, assembly point, and designated safe area. Next, about evacuation equipment. Ensure that evacuation equipment such as lifeboat and life raft is well maintained and easily accessible. Next, about communication protocol. Establish clear communication channel for relaying evacuation order and update. Training and awareness. Provide regular training season for all personnel and evacuation procedure, emphasizing the importance of familiarity with escape route and assembly point. Next, about emergency alarm and signal. Implement a clear and recognizable alarm system to signal the commencement of an evacuation. Lastly, coordination with transportation provider. Collaborate with transportation provider to establish plan for emergencies evacuation, including the timely availability of vessel or aircraft. Process six is medical response. First, medical facilities and resources. Maintain well-equipped medical facilities of offshore platform, including first aid station and treatment room. Ensure the availability of essential medical resources, medication, and equipment for various types of medical emergency. Next, about medical personnel and training. Deploy trained medical personnel offshore platform, including paramedic and nurse. Conduct regular training for designated personnel on emergency medical procedure such as basic life support and advanced life support. Next, about emergency communication. Establish clear communication channel for reporting medical emergency. Ensure that medical personnel can be quickly notified and dispatched to the location of the emergency. Lastly, evacuation protocol. Develop clear protocol for the evacuation of injured or ill individual, including coordination with transportation provider. Establish criteria for determining the need for evacuation and the appropriate mode of transportation.
Equipment deployment in emergency response processes in offshore support companies within the oil and gas industry is a critical aspect to ensure a swift and effective response to incidents. The type of equipment deployed depends on the nature of the emergency. First one, fire emergencies. For the equipment, firefighting equipment including fire extinguishers, hoses, water monitors, foam systems, and firefighting suits. For the deployment, Emergency Response Team ERT members trained in firefighting techniques deploy to the location of the fire with the necessary equipment. Fixed firefighting systems may also be activated. Second, oil spill response. For the equipment, oil spill response kit, containment booms, skimmers, oil spill response vessels, and personal protective equipment for responders. For the deployment, ART members trained in all-spill response deploy with the necessary equipment to contain and clean up the spill oil. Specialized vessels equipped with all-spill response equipment may also be deployed. Next, communication equipment. For the equipment, two-way radios, emergency communication systems, satellite phones, and public address systems. For the deployment, communication equipment is deployed to establish and maintain communication between the ART members, the offshore facility, and relevant authorities. Clear communication is crucial for coordination during emergencies. Next, personnel evacuation. For the equipment, life boots, life raft, life buoy, life jackets, immersion suits, and communication devices. For the deployment, in the event of an emergency requiring personnel evacuation, life boots and life raft are deployed. ART members assist in guiding personnel to designated evacuation points and ensuring the proper use of life-saving appliances. Lastly, equipment tracking system. For the equipment, RFID tags, GPS tracking devices, and asset tracking system. For the deployment, equipment tracking system are deployed to monitor the location and status of critical response equipment, ensuring that resources are efficiently deployed to where they are needed most. The next point is coordination with external agencies. Coordination with external agencies is a crucial aspect of emergency response processes in offshore support companies within the oil and gas industry. Effectively managing emergencies often requires collaboration with various external entities to ensure a comprehensive and coordinated response. For the first one, local authorities. Local authorities establish communication channels and protocols with local maritime and coastal authorities. In case of emergencies, such as oil spills or major incidents, cooperation with these authorities is essential for regulatory compliance and to leverage their resources and expertise. Next, Coast Guard and Maritime Authorities. Maintain regular communication with the Coast Guard and Maritime Authorities responsible for the region where the offshore operations are conducted. Report incidents promptly, seek guidance, and cooperate in joint response efforts. Next, environmental agencies. Collaborate with environmental protection agencies in the event of oil spills or other environmental incidents. Ensure compliance with environmental regulations and work together to assess and mitigate the impact on the marine environment. Transportation authorities. Coordinate with transportation authorities for the movement of personnel and resources during emergencies. This includes arrangement for air or sea transport to and from offshore facilities. Lastly, joint exercises and drills. Conduct joint exercises and drills with external agencies to enhance coordination and test the effectiveness of emergency response plans. These exercises help identify areas for improvement and foster a collaborative approach.
Next process is Incident Command System. The Incident Command System is a standardized approach used by emergency respondents to manage and coordinate incidents, using effective communication and organizations during emergency or disaster. For this process, have 6 steps. The first step for this process is size up the situation. Size up the situation refers to the initial assessment or evaluation conducted by emergency respondents to gather information about an incident. It involves determining the nature, extent, and potential impact of the situation to make informed decisions and implement an effective response. Second is identify contingencies. This process involves recognition, alternative plan, or potential response should the initial approach encounter an expected challenge or developments. For example, in an emergency response, contingency may include alternative evaluation routes, backup communication method, or additional and or additional resources should the situation change differently than initial assessment. The next process for incident common system is build an incident action plan and management structure. And for the last for this topic is take actions. The last process is continuous monitoring. Continuous monitoring is the real-time observation and assessment of system to properly detect and respond to change or anomalies. It ensure a proactive approach to security performance and compliance across various domains like IT, healthcare, and industry process. The internal step in continuous monitoring is defining parameters, metric, and criteria for observation. This involves understanding critical aspect, normal behavior, and outline the internal scope. Following the definition phase, the subsequent step is to establish the monitoring infrastructure. These include deploying tool system and processes to collect, analysis, and interpret the defined data. A robust monitoring framework ensure effectiveness, scalability, and timely insights. Next is analysis and report. After that is response, and lastly is review and update.
In conclusion, emergency response planning and implementation are absolutely vital for safe and successful and offshore support operation by proactively identifying risks, developing data response procedure. Effective emergency response in offshore support operation require a collaborative effort between various stakeholders, including the operator, contractor, regulatory bodies, and emergency response team. Investing in emergency response planning and prepare is not only a moral obligation, but it also makes good business sense.